The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. The Bangko Sentral may consider pausing its monetary tightening if April inflation does not accelerate. BSP Governor Felipe Medalla said a zero or negative month-on-month inflation may support the case for a rate hike pause. Inflation rate eased for a second consecutive month in March to 7.6% from 8.6% in February. But some analysts said the BSP may still raise interest rates to quell persistent second-round effects of inflation. Since May 2022, the Monetary Board raised policy rates by 425 basis points, bringing it to a near 16-year high of 6.25%. The Philippine economy grew at a slower pace in the fourth quarter of 2022 than initially reported. In its revised figures, the Philippine Statistics Authority says that GDP growth in the fourth quarter was at 7.1%. That's slightly lower than the 7.2% reported previously. According to the PSA, the revision did not affect the full-year growth rate of 2022, which was maintained at 7.6%. The PSA said that the GDP estimates are adjusted based on approved revision policy in line with international standard practices on national account revisions. The national government's debt service bill declined 78% in January. Data from the Treasury Bureau shows that the government paid 47.8 billion pesos for debt servicing in January this year. That's 78% lower than the 215.8 billion pesos paid in the same month in 2022. The latest figure is also 84% lower than the 302 billion debt service payments in December. The Treasury attributed the decline in the country's debt service bill to lower interest and amortization payments. In other news, the Bureau of Animal Industry sounds alarm on the African swine fever as it spreads to 54 provinces. That's according to a report by the Philippine Star. Latest data from the BAI shows the ASF has been detected in 460 municipalities across the country. The Bureau says only 20 provinces remain ASF-free. Agriculture Assistant Secretary Rex Estoperes earlier said that ASF has become a national concern. Estoperes also assured that President Bongbong Marcos is fully abreast of the extent of the outbreak. The Agriculture Department has begun reaching out to LGUs to harmonize the implementation of measures to prevent the further spread of the virus. Some families chose to spend their Easter Sunday along the Manila Bay. Here's the report.
The shores of Manila Bay become an instant beach on Easter Sunday. Despite warnings not to swim, some people couldn't help but splash themselves in the water.
Malamig, masarap. Nakatanggal ang init.
Many of them even brought their own swimming gears. Aside from enjoying the waters of Manila Bay, some people harvested mussels or tahong.
Ang gagawin mo namin sa tahong, sir, pulutan yan. Siyempre, sir, masarap yan. Napakasarap niyan, sobra.
But eventually, they were shooed back to the shore.
Ahon na kayo, ahon! Magagalit na yung bawal kasi dito sa Manila Bay.
Authorities are concerned over health hazards and the safety of people, especially children.
Wala naman designated na lifeguard dito para bantayan sila habang naliligo sila.
Many families also chose to cap off their Holy Week at the area of the Dolomite Beach.
And it's our first time dito sa Dolomite. And yun nga, hindi rin namin na-expect na ganito na sobrang laki na ng changes. Kasi dumayo kami ng Manila. So para naman ibang ambience naman. So from bundok to Manila naman kami.
Yes po, super enjoy. And it is very fulfilling po talaga na makapunta po dito sa Manila at saka makapasyal-pasyal po dito, especially po dito kasi matagal ko na po gusto makapunta dito eh.
Authorities said around 10,000 people went to the Dolomite Beach on Sunday. Over at the Paseco Beach, it was a different scene. No person was seen swimming at the usual spot for many residents every Easter Sunday.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. With more people expected to travel back to Manila from their Holy Week breaks, motorists may be greeted by a possible oil price hike. In a forecast by UniOil, gasoline prices are expected to increase by up to 2 pesos and 80 centavos per liter on Tuesday, April 11. Prices of diesel, on the other hand, may climb by up to 1 peso, 70 centavos per liter. The forecasted price adjustments will be the second consecutive week of increases for both petroleum products should they push through. The forecast also comes after Saudi Arabia and other OPEC Plus producers announced reductions in their oil production by over 1 million barrels per day. The Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines projects a stretch growth target of 10% in IP filings for 2023. IPO Field Director General Roel Barba said they are hitting an annual growth in filings of 4 to 5% since the office was created in 1998. But Barba noted that they aim for 10% this year, given all of the programs of IPO Phil, especially on IP awareness. These include the Juana Mark Program, a registration incentive initiative to attract more trademark registrations. He added that they seek to accompany the Board of Investments in international missions to boost IP filings in the country. The total number of registered SIM cards have reached over 62 million as of April 7. The Department of Information and Communications Technology said more registered their SIM cards during the Holy Week. Of the number, more than 31 million are smart subscribers, over 26 million are with Globe, and some 4 million registrants are from Ditto. However, the registration turnout so far is only around 36% of the total SIM cards sold nationwide as tallied by the DICT. The SIM registration is set to end on April 26, which could still be extended by up to 120 more days upon the discretion of the government. Roulette was supposed to be a game of chance until one gambler cracked the code. Here's how he did it.
Roulette isn't quite as random as most people think. It's possible to get a good idea of which section the ball is going to stop in by measuring the speed of the ball and the rotor, and you can win a fortune. The people making fortunes aren't physicists or psychics though, they're members of a secret community of roulette predictors, and they've been using their skills against casinos for decades. Probably the world's most successful player is a Croatian called Niko Tosa. If you haven't heard of him, you aren't alone. He's never given an interview or appeared in any book, magazine or newspaper, until now. In 2004, Tosa and 2 companions achieved the impossible. They walked into a London casino with a couple of £1,000s in their pockets, and over the course of hundreds of games of roulette, they turned it into 1.3 million. Over the years, casinos have got wise to the trick, and they've had to redesign their equipment to encourage the ball to skid and bounce around, enough to confuse the predictors. If you walk into any casino anywhere in the world today, take a close look at the shape of the roulette wheel, and you can see how it's been influenced by Niko Tosa and players like him. Check out the shape of the pockets, which had to be redesigned to be smoother and shallower than before. Since the coronavirus pandemic, online gambling is the industry's biggest growth area. But the arms race between predictive players and their opponents is still going on. Gamblers can use software to track the ball and rotor automatically and calculate where it's going to land. Companies defend their profits using wheels with inbuilt lasers and algorithms to make them harder to predict. When I finally tracked down Niko Tosa in Croatia, he was happy to talk about his big night at the Ritz Club. He had only one regret, that he didn't win more.
And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.